I said it before, and I will continue to say it. XLM is severely overlooked. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So like I said, yes, XLM is so overlooked. It's actually one of the most overlooked projects in this space, simply because it doesn't get a lot of attention because it's in the shadow of XRP. On the screen, actually, I have a comparison between XRP and XLM. And honestly, if I said, hey, pick one of these and tell me which one is XRP or XLM, you would not know the difference. Obviously, you do because of the label difference and also the percentage gain. But I'm just saying, like, if I showed you two charts side by side and said, pick XRP, pick XLM, you really wouldn't know the difference. That's how similar these two are in terms of price action. But I strongly encourage everyone to join the free Discord. There's going to be a link at the top of the description below. This is one of the most valuable and informative Discords out there, and it's completely free. There's a free side that has a ton of free crypto gems, free market strategies, guides, market trends, free charts, and there's also going to be new cheat sheets dropped in this Discord. And already, we have a ton of testimonials from members of the Discord that have been absolutely loving it. So what are you waiting for? Go and click the link at the top of the description below and join the free Discord. As we really look at XLM, I do think that this has a tremendous upside potential. I mean, even for XLM to reach XRP's market cap right now, it would be a 10x plus, which is crazy to me. But outside of that, right, XLM is about to witness a major change, and that is DeFi. We know that with Sorbonne, it added smart contracts, which also opened the door for massive amounts of DeFi initiatives and building to happen. But more so recently, Stellar put out a post and they said the next era of DeFi is powered by Stellar. Now, this gives me an insight to the fact that I believe that Stellar is preparing a new possible roadmap, as we do actually get see posted by Moby Media. But also, it seems as though they have a lot of plans around DeFi initiatives for Stellar, which I'm also very excited about. But remember what recently got posted back in March from Blockworks, and this is actually from a Ripple employee, Marcus Infinger. We have DeFi needs institutions and regulation. If there was two assets in this space that I said were pretty much destined for success once we see regulations, I would have to pick XRP and XLM just off of the fact that they've been around forever. They've connected the dots with regulators in the past. Obviously, we know XRP got targeted, even though Ripple was in major private meetings with regulators forever, trying to plan around, regulatory clarity, try to work with them. And we already know how that went with the SEC. But these two are, in my opinion, the strongest altcoins around the utility side of things. Yes, there's HBAR. Yes, there's Casper. Yes, there's QNT, which, they do obviously need to be mentioned. But, as we really kind of look at DeFi, yes, institutions will come into the space. In fact, a lot of them are already here. You have HSBC, JP Morgan, Bank of America, which they do mention, even Citi. Yeah, also have big players like BlackRock jumping in to the game. So, it's only a matter of time, like I said, until these big players really kind of start ramping up the use cases, ramping up the public chain use cases, I should say as well, because that's the focus. But one major hurdle exists, which is oversight. Pioneered by degens known for their aversion to regulation, the fundamental tenets of DeFi technology, anonymity, and the elimination of intermediaries inherently challenge the fiduciary responsibility norms upheld by banks and asset managers and overseen by regulators. So as we really think about this, right, DeFi has a ton of use case potential behind it. And I do think that now we're starting to kind of see the regulatory side of things really kind of move forward, especially with Mika and things like that. But we also have down here driving institutional adoption with regulatory clarity. If DeFi is to integrate into traditional financial services, there's a critical need for regulatory clarity. And yes, as we really kind of look at this, right, we are focused on what institutions are doing. Right now, tokenization seems as though it's a gateway for institutions to take, part in this space outside of regulations. It seems as though they found like a secret gap, and that's where we start to kind of see these big players jumping in. But there is still a big hurdle around regulations. We still don't have, regulations going all in on crypto or on DeFi just yet. And I do think that regulation is that missing link. But like I said, with regulations, two major players that are destined for success around tokenization, around institutional DeFi and, initiatives around that is XLM and XRP. But let's actually focus on tokenization for a second, because over here we have tokenized treasuries. Remember that Stellar is the second largest network by TVL with tokenized treasuries. Ethereum has 1.3 billion. Stellar has 432.4 million. This is also why I say, Stellar is so overlooked at a time where I feel as though everyone should be focused on Stellar and the names that they're already working with, like Franklin Templeton or even Wisdom Tree. Now, building on top of this, we have over here 550 million plus tokenized assets, 475,000 plus crypto ramps, 180 plus countries, one network, Stellar. Built better so you could build better. They are ramping up the outreach program for Stellar. They're getting the word out there that, listen, although, yeah, we might be overlooked right now, we're going to show you why you shouldn't be overlooking us, or why in the future when you come back to look at us after we, went parabolic and, had so much success, you will regret overlooking Stellar. And this is also what I assume to happen as well. I feel as though a lot of people will overlook even XRP technically because of the performance. They will overlook both of these because they haven't reached a new all-time high in a very long time. And once it actually happens, once these two really kind of take over, that's when everyone will say, wow, I really regret overlooking these two when the facts were there. Now, talking about those facts, let's go over here. We have Franklin Templeton on why everything is going to be on public chains. Private blockchains are highly vulnerable. Now, mind you, this is Franklin Templeton. They are telling you, hey, everything will be on public chains. This is a institution. Even when we go back over here and we look at the list, right? You have JP Morgan on this list, Bank of America, Citi, HSBC. We know HSBC is tapped in with Medico. We also know that Bank of America is also looking at XRP. JP Morgan, although they are utilizing private Ethereum technology for Onyx, I do believe that they will also pivot at some point in time. Same with even Citi. This is also why I look at the DTCC, who settles $3 quadrillion per year in securities transactions. They are utilizing private DLT. They will also make that flip. All of these major institutions, all of these major players will soon be utilizing public chains. Listen closely to what Franklin Templeton is telling you.
I think that when people think about the future, they think, well, I need to build this capability and I need to do it as part of either a private chain or a permissioned chain so that I can control the data and I can control the ability to access and participate in the system. And let's be real, to also hold some of our edge because we don't want to be disintermediated. But I think what the missing understanding is that you are building a system that is going to be highly vulnerable if you go into these permissioned pools or into these private blockchains, because the number of developers that you have working on your security model, the number of nodes that you have actually doing verification is going to be far, 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 far fewer than any public blockchain, even new and beginning public blockchains. And those public blockchains are going to have higher levels of security than any private offering being built by anyone in the industry, simply because there's thousands upon thousands of developers that are constantly testing the security of these protocols, right? So I think that there's a fundamental misunderstanding that private somehow equals safer. And I think that.
So there you guys have it. Again, I think that she makes a very solid claim here, right? Those private blockchain networks, or whatever you want to call them, right? Because I don't really look at them as networks because they're all private technology, essentially. All it is private tech. All of that tech is extremely vulnerable. It's extremely risky. The security is a lot lower than those public chains. This was the biggest concern for the longest time as well. I remember when Onyx came out, everyone was like, all right, well, that's it. That just was a massive blow to this entire industry. They're going to, start creating their own private networks, and that's going to basically make all of these public chains, useless. Again, we're hearing from a prominent name, Franklin Templeton, literally telling you, hey, everything's going to be on public chains. And they already picked their winner. They already picked Stellar. And even over here, we actually have Franklin Templeton, the 1.5 trillion asset manager, handpicked Stellar XLM for a reason: tokenization. Tokenize anything effortlessly on the Stellar network, faster, cheaper, and more secure than rivals like Ethereum or even Matic. Franklin Templeton's foresight of XLM's innovations led them to file with the SEC before the Stellar Foundation even caught wind. Get ready for stellar days ahead in the XLM ecosystem. Check this out.
That's traded on Stellar, I believe, are more than every other platform combined right now because of the partnership that you have with Franklin Templeton. So,
yay, everybody, let's do that. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, and the funny thing about the Franklin Templeton partnership is that it actually started kind of without our knowledge, because Franklin went to the SEC before even talking to us, and they actually started their approval process back in like 2019, early 2020, and we found out about it because we saw an SEC filing. And then after that, of course, we started working with Franklin Templeton. But I just checked right before we came on, and they're just under 300 million in terms of the volume that they have with Benji, which is their asset. Money market fund on Stellar.
So
you guys have it. And, this is what I really kind of look at when I'm trying to assess the future of this space and how solid some of these investments actually are. When we look at this space, there's a lot of speculation of, what will and what won't make it, especially when regulations hit the space. I feel as though it's clear, right? It's very clear when you look at names like Stellar or even Ripple. Like, everyone was always talking about Ripple back in the day, and they were like, oh, XRP is a banker's coin because Ripple is, targeting all these institutions and using XRP. And fast forward to today, it's like, all right, well, let's go back in time to those days and think about how bullish that actually was for Ripple and even for XRP. Like, we now have BlackRock being celebrated, jumping into Bitcoin with Bitcoin ETFs. But if we go back, 4 years ago, that would have been frowned upon. That's how evolution in the space is happening right now. When we look at those connections that Ripple has, when we look at the connections that Stellar has, it is a very, very good sign that these two will be around for the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, possibly even 50 plus years because of the technology behind them. And once we start to see regulations hit this space, that's also where I foresee utility becoming a very big deal. But this is also when we start to see integration within the traditional system happening through some of these public chains. We already have some exposure, right? I think that the tokenization space is definitely one to focus on because, it's just tokenization. It's a very small use case, but this small use case right now, they're just kind of, testing the waters. Like, we look at some of these valuations like, all right, this is $2 billion. That must be a lot of money, right? It's a drop of water in the bucket, especially when you look at like the DTCC, who, like I said, settles $3 quadrillion per year. Like, these are massive names, and this is just a little drop of water in the bucket. They are prepared to bring trillions and trillions of dollars into the space. And guess who will reap the rewards? It's going to be public chains. You didn't hear it from me. You didn't hear from some random person on X. No, you heard it. You heard about this from someone at Franklin Templeton. When I say someone, this is literally, you can see it right here, the head of industry advisory services at Franklin Templeton, telling you the plan to utilize public chains, not private, public chains. And they already chose Stellar. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys can follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.